Welcome to the sixth episode of Chickpea Power, the podcast for vegan athletes and entrepreneurs who want to change the world. How is that for a German/Englander intro? Well, listen, my name is Oliver. Welcome so much to the podcast. And again, I'm so excited to be able to present to you another amazing guest. Her name is Sabrina Moisan. Again, I'm going to say it in French because we're both from the Frenchy community. We're both from Montreal, Quebec, and she brings so much value. I found her on social media. I had to contact her out. She brings weekly recipes, which are oil-free, 100% whole food, plant-based, specifically made and designed by herself for people who do not have the time to cook, but still want to experience a plant-based lifestyle and all the benefits around it. Now, the awesome part about this interview is that she's going to share with you exactly how you can follow your gut feeling to ultimately create a lifestyle that you deserve, enjoy, and reap 100% of the benefits out. I know it's so difficult as a young person ready to go in the workforce, ready to graduate and start bringing value to people, but not really knowing in what direction to go to, and really just being overbeared by all the voices of other people saying, oh, you should go in finance, oh, you should become a medical doctor, or stuff like that, which you really are not interested but feel obliged to do because these are people that you care about, these are your family members, or these are really close friends. So I invite you to take a notepad, take a pencil, and write out exactly the answers to the questions Sabrina is going to ask you throughout the interview. She's going to bring a lot of value and give you tremendous insight. When you're going to come out of this interview, you're going to know exactly what to do and which direction to go in. Okay, so please enjoy this interview and listen, my friends. Let's get it. Hey Sabrina, what's up?
Nothing much, just enjoying this moment and talking to you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you so much. Listen, it was a pleasure finding you on Facebook. I love what you do. I think it's so awesome that you're posting recipes regularly and really inspiring the vegan community. And the first question that's really buzzing inside my mind is, how did you start? What got you firing up for starting Spicy Squash?
Okay, well, first of all, I was always very into vegetables. So when I'm 32 years old now, and when I was about 18 years old, I became a vegetarian for a good decade. I was always, like in the family, always the person who was so annoying, like wouldn't eat this or that. I would eat some fish once in a while, but I was mostly vegetarian. And then, over the past few months, I turned vegan, and it's just unbelievable how my body responded in a great way. Like, I feel much more energized. And to me, like, I was like, oh my gosh, so like being vegan, being on a whole food plant-based diet is really the only way. It's just like really like people really need to wake up and start eating more this way. What happened is exactly why I created the Spicy Squash. I'm in finance right now. This is just a passion project. And I had an interview with a pretty major institution. And after meeting the vice president, he told me that I wasn't passionate about finance enough. So I didn't get the position I was applying for. And then in retrospect, I was asking myself, like, really, like, is this guy serious? Like, obviously, I'm not passionate about finance. Like, during my weekend, I'm not the person who's going to look at the financial statements of, like, Tesla or whatever. Like, I really don't care. Like, I'm going to cook. I'm going to read about nutrition, trying to educate myself on health and different things. So this is why I just came up with the idea of creating my own blog, and mostly because since I turned vegan, many of my friends and family members became more and more curious and wanted to know more. And, there's really this stereotype of people thinking once you're plant-based that you're eating just carrots and rice, or like, I don't know what people are thinking, but I wanted to show people around me that it's super normal and like such an easy lifestyle. And, you can eat delicious foods while being vegan. So that's how it started. And I started like just about 3 months ago. So I'm really growing my following and, trying to be as present as I can on social media. And it's so far, like, I love the response I'm getting from everyone. Like, this is great.
It's really inspiring to know, because I know a lot of people might hear around the educational system that they're not made for it. They're getting bad feedback from their teachers saying they're not good enough for school. They're never going to succeed. And though that may sound a bit like a cliche, it is pretty common. I get told by my boss, for example, I work at a restaurant and I do it for fun. I don't do it for money. I'm not attached to it financially, but I do it for fun. And sometimes the guy is going to tell me, hey, you're not made for this. And I think it's really awesome to hear also from you that even though you're hustling, you're doing great on your side project that you're really passionate about, that you're also getting that feedback that drives you more. So of course I want to ask you like what like is the biggest struggles when you're going vegan, but I want to maybe go back to the financial side and ask you, how did you get into financials? What were you thinking when you were going to financials? Did you think you were going to like it, or how did it go?
So my father's an entrepreneur. He had businesses his whole life, and like every little girl, you want your daddy to be proud of you. And I really thought that he wanted me to study business to learn more about finance. So I thought that this is what he wanted me to do. So I started to study finance and then econ, and, you know, I moved my way to like just business in general. And I have a bachelor degree in that matter now. But really, I feel like it sucks so much that you need to choose what you're going to make a living of when you're 18 years old, when you have no experience, don't really know what you like. For example, for myself, like, of course, I don't regret this time that I studied business, but in retrospect, I really feel like I would have maybe studied more about nutrition or, you know, psychology or stuff like that. So that's what made me go into finance first. And whenever, like, I got this response from the vice president of this federal bank, he was like, I remember going to my ex-boyfriend at that time, and my ex-boyfriend said, that guy made you like the greatest favor. Maybe this is the time of your life that you get to do something you're actually passionate about. And you're going to be 100% more happy in doing this blog and whatever, like, who knows what it will bring. And he was totally right. Like, I've been happier since I've started this than I would have ever probably been in that position. And you know, there's the social pressure that you want to be super successful and you want to have the high, like, great title job. But at the end of the day, like, you just need to figure out what makes you happy and just work at it.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. Yeah, go for it.
No, I was just saying, and if that's finance for some people, then that's great. I know people who are in finance, and I'm like, God, like this guy or this girl, like, wow. But, you know, it's not, you need to find what resonates inside you.
Yeah, so I really love how you were able to turn this kind of at first negative experience and then frame it into something that empowers you. And so what I'm interested in now is asking you, what would you tell yourself, your 18-year-old self right now, with what you know right now?
Gosh, that's a really good one.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
Actually, like, I know it sounds so maybe corny, but no. I mean, I come from a very privileged background, so I was able to really just have a lot of fun before even like going to university, like, and even while being in university, like, I was really under no pressure to graduate under 4 years. I traveled, I had a lot of fun, I met a lot of people. So, you know, I'd say I wasn't the most responsible 18-year-old, that's all I'm saying. So I mean, I'm not the greatest example, but what I would tell anyone who's 18-year-old right now is just really to trust your instincts. That's all I would say. I wasn't trusting my instinct. I knew I should have studied probably something more like medicine or psychology or something that would have been harder, but that I was more passionate about. But I was scared, and I thought that, you know, I needed to do something else. I would say really to trust your instincts and to, you know, not give a damn about whatever people are saying or about the pressure, and just really try to be the more secure with yourself at the earliest, really in your 20s, like to be fully secure with your choices. Like, I feel like this is the greatest gift you can give yourself when you're starting your 20s.
And so how would you say right now, how would you describe pushing it a little bit more, following your instinct? Is it just following your gut feeling, like a feeling you have inside that you just know is right without describing it, or are you able to turn it into something a bit more explainable?
Well, it all depends of what you went through, in my opinion, but a gut feeling and trusting that gut feeling. To be able also, sometimes you can trust your instincts and your gut feeling and then realize you're wrong. And it takes a lot of maturity and sensitivity to realize that sometimes, maybe you were wrong, and to just readjust yourself and to grow. Like I feel like it's just constantly growing, and I'm just speaking from my opinion here. Obviously, I'm still growing and I'm still learning things about myself, but really to take the time and to not rush in anything, and to always, I don't want to sound like Steve Jobs, but to always be curious, to really don't settle for anything. That's mostly it.
Mm-hmm. Like it. Don't settle for anything. That really resounds with, especially me as a young person. And and now, if that's okay with you, I would really love to ask you, because I know you're passionate about cooking. I know you have some awesome recipes. I checked out the last one with the mushroom. What was it called? What was your last recipe?
The pappardelle.
Yeah, the pappardelle. Yeah, the pappardelle. That looked really good. I'm actually going to try it tomorrow night. I asked my mom if we could try it. And
oh my gosh, so good.
I'm going to post it, actually. I'm going to share it with you. And
oh my gosh, I can't wait.
And I just wanted to ask you, maybe, because I know for a lot of students, especially around me, a big struggle and a big drawback from going vegan is really cooking, taking the time to cook, because it's so much easier when you're an omnivore and you're just eating anything that comes in your way. And so how do you find the time, especially as a financial...
I work for financial institution, and I administrate pension funds for strategic groups like EY and stuff. So basically it's kind of, there is a pressure, and I'm quite busy. What I will say, making the transition between being vegetarian / pescatarian to vegan has been extremely difficult social-wise, and I will explain you why. People are usually super offended that you're turning vegan. They take it super personally. This is crazy, and I'm sure if I say this to you, you can think of a few people taking it personally. You stop eating cheese. Yes, I stopped eating cheese. I don't want it anymore. People take it personally, and every meal you're sharing with people now turns into a vegan debate. So this is the most struggle I've had. And, to tell you the truth, those who are not accepting my choices, they're just not accepting me. And they just become more and more fluff in my life. And, I know I'm in my 30s, maybe the social circle is not as important in my life as it was in my early 20s. But now I'm just I just feel so grounded with myself that this is the right way to eat. And I'm just not going to be, sorry for it. But definitely it has impacted my social life. And just going to restaurants, many restaurants don't know how to cook vegan, how to adjust their menus to vegan food. So I really have a top 10 maybe restaurants that I go all the time. I know they know how to make vegan food. That's what I do now. And I've learned also that, when you're not vegan, you can just take a steak and put it on the barbecue. Being vegan, you need more time to prep food. You need so much flavor. You need to add so many spices for your food to really be tasty and delicious. So I feel like it's the greatest gift also you can give yourself. You're actually giving yourself health and good nutrition. So maybe at the end of the day, it takes about 10, 15 minutes more of planning and prepping. But I feel like at the end of the day, the results are so much better. There's something that I wanted to tell you, because if you say that your followers and your people who would be listening to this are maybe more in their 20s, I will be talking to more the female, following.
Definitely.
I remember being in my 20s and never, I was a vegetarian and never being able to be off the pill. Never. I would have severe acne, all over my forehead and jawline, and I never understood why. I would never be able to stop taking the pill. And now that I'm vegan, I stopped taking the pill, and I have no pimples, no zits, no nothing. And really, I started to read about this, and it's insane how dairy actually, like, and I don't want to be cursing, but it messed up your whole hormonal balance. And if there's a girl out there who's struggling to get off the pill because she feels like she's going to have acne, you know what? Try to go dairy free for maybe a month, and you'll see the results for sure. And I have many of my friends, they have pimples once in a while, or some of them really have acne, and I just keep on telling them, you need to get off dairy. And people are like, oh no, for sure it's not dairy. Like, it's probably just a hormone problem. What do you think dairy is? Like, it's a bunch of hormones. So I think that there's really a misconception of being vegan, and people don't see really the benefits that it can have on their health.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah, that you raised a lot of good points there. And especially looking at your picture, I was browsing through your website before the interview, and I saw like, wow, you really look great. Like, your skin looks amazing, your hair looks so healthy, and you just have that vegan glow, like they say, the vegan glow.
Yeah, and so, thank you. That's very true.
And so, yeah, and like it's really great to hear that you also struggled with not only social aspects but also with dairy. And so you would just tell the young people, hey, listen, if you have acne, just try cutting dairy out for 1 month.
Yeah, try cutting dairy out for 1 month. And I'm not saying going lactose free. I'm saying dairy. Like, I wasn't drinking, like, for example, my latte would be lactose free. It's just insane. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I would have pimple all the time, like, literally, like, I can't, I swear, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, and I'm sure that whoever is struggling out there with, we call it cystic acne, so you can Google that. They'll know what I'm talking about. Like, it just affects your self-confidence. And to me, this is the reason why I never got off the pill. And, the pill is like the worst thing on your body as well. So, yeah, so cutting dairy, and this is just one thing. If a person is really curious about the benefits of a vegan diet can have on their health, then I really strongly suggest them to look into Dr. Greger. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like the pioneer, essentially, right?
Well, essentially, with others like Dr. McDougall, for example. But they all have their own style. But Dr. Greger, he's so funny and so easy to watch, and it makes so much more sense. And this is just the health part, and there's the whole animal and also environment part. But if you're curious about the health part, then I feel like you should really look into Dr. Greger, Michael Greger, Nutrition Facts. He's really awesome. Like, he's so funny. If you actually have 10 minutes of your time, you should Google Dr. Greger Top 10 2017 or something. Jesus, he is hilarious. He's just so funny.
All right. So I'm going to link also the link in the description down below.
Why are you vegan? I've never asked you. Why are you vegan?
So I mainly started vegan because I had a lot of acne. I had a lot of eczema myself. And so...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was like exactly same like you. I was drinking maybe when I was high school, 3rd grade, I was drinking maybe one liter of milk a day. So it was really, really horrible. Like, I don't know how I did it, but then I became an athlete. I decided to cut dairy. I was still eating chicken and protein. And then I just I think I watched one documentary too many. And I just said you know what, fuck it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Then you went fully vegan.
Then I went fully vegan one day after the next. It was not it was almost like a change of identity. You've probably seen some of these insects that just morph and leave their other skin. It was essentially that, the best way I could describe it. It was just no looking back. I just said fuck it, this is not part of me anymore.
What about your parents? You're still living with your parents?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, my parents were really open-minded about it. My little brother actually turned vegan. I talked to him about it. I showed him a bit about what I found, the benefits mostly. And he's turned vegan now for a year, a bit like me. And my mom has become vegetarian, essentially. My dad is a bit harder to convert because he's from an American background, but I think they took it pretty well. And right now at home, I'm cooking mostly. So, well, my mom also, but I'm cooking half the time. And every time I cook, it's vegan. So we're essentially going towards veganism. So it's really awesome.
That's so awesome.
Mm-hmm. How about you? How about at your house? Or
Well,
your parents?
my previous boyfriend was vegan,
Mm-hmm.
so that was really easy. But my mother is starting to be more and more vegan friendly, which is super cool. But forget about my brothers and my father. Like, I mean, no,
Uh-huh.
like really no. They're just like they're really not interested. But my mother is really more and more into veganism, like for the health part. And it's just so funny because like she's trying so hard. Um, my mother and I have this really special relationship, and I don't mean special in a good way. Like we've had many ups and downs, and you know, she's always trying to make me so happy. And over the holidays, she made many of our traditional recipes vegan without people
Mm-hmm.
knowing. And I would like eat them, and people would be like, "Oh, you're not vegan today?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not vegan today." And at the end of the dinner, I would be like, "Well, like you know, jokes on you because everything was actually vegan, and you guys didn't even notice it." Like, and I feel like this is like so great. Whenever people are like, you know, like, oh my gosh, this was vegan. Like, oh my gosh, like people are so insulted. But I think this is so great to show people that there's a way of making everything vegan and still delicious. Like maybe you won't have this freaking like steak and I don't know what because I haven't like eaten meat in forever. But there's still a way to really feel like full after a meal and really satisfied.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I think.
Yeah, so my question was, I feel more and more like veganism, not right now, but more and more, like the people getting in the vegan community are it's starting to become a bit saturated, not in a bad way. Like it's wonderful to see the vegan community grow. But I wanted to ask you, like, what is something that you believe in inside the vegan community that not many people do? Like, how do you distinguish yourself?
Well, I feel like the difference, and this is what the spicy squash is about. And I'm trying to be very careful with my words here.
Mm-hmm.
But you have those vegans that are super, I mean, activists, and that's great. I feel like we need more activism, and I really think. But he said something that veganism isn't the moral baseline, and he's kind of true, you know. And I don't want to get into this maybe some other time, but so you have those vegans that are super activists, and you know, to the rest of the majority of people, this is really annoying. Like I know myself, like if I was like a full-on activist, my family and friends would find me so annoying. Like they would really hate me. And this isn't my approach, and this is why I created this spicy squash. I want people that are not vegan to see that it is possible to just eat less meat. You know, if you don't think you can go 95% or 100% vegan, maybe you just for health reasons, you're starting to have diabetes or a bit more cholesterol, and you want to cut down on some meat and dairy, and you're lacking inspiration, or maybe you're just more curious about eating more vegetables. Well, it's really possible to do it in a way that you won't feel you're an alien, you know, like, and this is really what I believe in. I believe that there's a way of being vegan without being in the extremes, without being full-on activist or being full-on, you know, super passive about it. I believe that there's a way of being just in the middle and inspiring people. And I've always had this approach in life. I'm not trying to force anyone's hand. You know, if you feel in your heart that it is right to eat the way you do, then okay. But let me just show you how easy and tasteful and delicious and great and super fun it can be to be on a whole food plant-based diet. That's basically my way of living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can. A lot of people in vegan groups, I feel they push it too far. Sometimes they go all the way to insulting other people, but they're very, very harsh and mean words that just take away the whole purpose of passion, of compassion to other beings. And it just completely takes away the message of what we stand for. And I love your approach of saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to shove it down your throat. I'm going to invite you in my world. I'm just going to show you what I've got, how amazing it is, how amazing you can feel, and how amazing it can taste with awesome recipes. And it's just really inspiring to hear that from you.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And how can people find out more about your food and what you do?
Well, they can follow me. I'm super active on Instagram. I post many stories, not only about food, but about what I do. And it's not boring. Like, it's always super fun. And on Facebook, I'd like to, in the future, maybe post more and more videos on health on Facebook. And actually, I'll send you a link of something maybe you can tag to this interview, is this whole thing on oil. And like, people are starting to be more and more, curious about this. But really, oil is like the most like processed food ever, and it's just like so processed, and people don't understand this, that we, like, if you want to be healthy, you cannot eat oil. Like, you just can't. So there's this whole I have a few videos, if you want, I'll send them to you, about explaining why people should cut down on oil. Like, really cut down. If you want to lose weight and you keep eating oil, you will not lose weight. Like, it is a fact. Like, some people, like, usually, because I still eat oil once in a while because I have a good metabolism. But, if I go like a whole week on a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, like, it will just show. Like, I will be much more toned. I do Pilates 4 or 5 times a week and spinning. So, like, it will just show right away. And people will ask me, like, oh, my gosh, have you been, like, on a crazy strict, like, super strict diet? Like, no, I just haven't eaten oil for the past 7 days. And it's just insane, the results you get. You don't need oil, especially if you're on a plant-based diet. You don't need your ratio of omega-3 and omega-6 is actually, much more on a healthy level. So I guess maybe we can talk this in another interview, but I'll definitely send you the link of people that are curious about this.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Sabrina. You brought up so many awesome points. And I just want to thank you again for all the hustle and all the amazing inspiration you're bringing out to the vegan community.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet, and thank you for having me.
Wow, if you made it this far, man, you're truly part of the GP Powered gang, and I thank you so much for staying all the way and really getting all the value that you could have gotten from this awesome interview. Now, again, if you want to go check out our amazing recipes, just click on the link below. It's going to be right there. And again, if you enjoy this interview, please consider subscribing to the podcast so you don't miss another episode of the podcast for vegan athletes and entrepreneurs who want to change the world. I was your host, Oliver Zergis, and have an amazing day.